In Lesson 8.1, we're going to talk about points, lines, segments, and rays. So Chapter 8 is getting all into geometry. So first, let's start with some definitions. A point is a dot that has no size. Okay, and we label with a capital print letter. So you can see up here they have a dot and then they have a capital print A. So that's point A, point B, and point C. A line is a set of points that extends forever. And we label a line a double arrow over two letters. And you can see they did that up here. It doesn't matter if you do DE or ED because it's going to be a line that's going to go on forever in both directions. A segment is a set of points between two endpoints. So you can see the segment stops. It doesn't go on forever like a line does. It has two set endpoints. So you label with a line with no arrows over two letters. Let's see what they did here. They did DE or ED, but they just put the segment over the letters, no arrows. An array is a set of points on one side of an endpoint. And it extends forever on one side. Not on both sides. So you can see in the picture up here, it starts at D, D is the endpoint, and it goes to E, but then it goes forever past E. So, you're going to label with a one-sided arrow. Oops, there's two R's in arrow. Oh, let's fix that. Arrow over two letters. Arrow over correct letter. Okay, so you see here they wrote DE and then put the arrow over the E, because in the picture the E is with the arrow. I could also say ED, but I'd have to draw my arrow backwards. The E has to be with the arrow. If I did this, this would be wrong because the arrow is not with the D, the arrow is with the E. So when you name a ray, it matters how you draw the arrow over the letters. So pause the video if you need to before moving on to a plane. Okay, now a plane is a flat surface that extends forever. Forever in all directions. We can't show that, so you just have to remember that a plane goes on forever. And you're going to label with 3 or 4 letters. You really only need 3. So intersecting lines have one shared point. to where they cross each other. Parallel lines will never touch or intersect. Now skew is something new. Skew lines are lines that never cross, but they also have to go in different directions. So they're not parallel either. So you're only going to see skew lines on a box. So let's look at our picture here. They call the plane ABCD. So that's the front of the box, ABCD. Now while we show it as a rectangle, it's understood that that's going to go on forever. Now what about line AB? Let's change my color. Okay, line AB is what to DC? So AB and DC are going to be parallel. Now what about AE up here, the next one, is what to AB? Well, AE and AE, they intersect. They meet at point A, and you can see they have a letter in common. That's their shared endpoint, or shared point. AE, picture's getting crowded here, but AE now and DC, those are going to be skew, because those go in different directions and they're never going to touch each other. Okay, so pause the video and fill all that in before moving on to some examples. Okay, so now we're going to name some stuff and we're going to make sure that we do it in the right way. So in this first one, BA, that has definite endpoints, so that's a segment. It's a very small box here. BA, or I could also call it AB, just as long as I put a line with no arrows over it, just a segment. The next one is arrows on both ends, so that's a line. And I can call it RS with a double arrow over it, or I could call it SR also with a double arrow. It doesn't matter. Now the last one is an arrow on one side, so that's a ray. And I would call that OP, and just make sure you put the arrow going over the P, because that's where the arrow is in the picture. Okay, so now I'm going to look at this prism over here. This kind of looks like a piece of cheese. Two parallel lines, XY and WU, XY and WU, those are parallel. And XW and what are also parallel? Well, who goes in the same direction as XW? That would be YU. WX, WX and ZU are skew. Okay, they go in different directions and they're never going to touch. WX is also skew with YZ. And YZ is also skew with WU. Or I could say that ZU is skew to, who haven't we named yet? Well, I would say ZU and WX, but we already, oh, I see it. ZU and XY. That's the other one. Okay, so they're just asking you to name two. We just gave you all the options. Okay, so now you're going to try the quick check. You're going to name the things off of the picture. And then for quick check 2, you're going to look at the map and name parallel streets and name intersecting streets. Okay, so pause the video, try those quick checks, and we'll check your work in class.